Trump's defense in the election interference cases, where he argues and his lawyers argue that he enjoys executive privilege or immunity at the time the January 6th riots took place. Well, then that means that he has the immunity that presidents typically enjoy. He also kind of fails to answer what Sotomayor is asking about in a way that makes her pleased with his take, right?
So Trump thought he was basically a king who could do whatever he wanted and never face consequences, right? Well, the Supreme Court just slapped him with a big fat reality check, and Grumpy Trumpy is throwing the mother of all tantrums. Even his own Supreme Court picks weren't buying his "I'm above the law" nonsense. When Trump's lawyers suggested a president could order a political rival's assassination and get away with it, Justice Sotomayor was like, "Are you for real right now?" The secondhand embarrassment in that courtroom was thicker than Trump's spray tan. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great, thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. So what exactly did Trump's lawyers try to sell to the Supreme Court? Basically, they claimed a president could do anything, even murder, and get away with it. I'm not making this up, folks. Trump's legal team marched into the highest court in the land with their chests puffed out.
Donald Trump's federal election interference trial, one of the last chances to hold him accountable for the crimes of January 6th before the upcoming election.
To authorize the prosecution of a president for his official acts would open a Pandora's box from which this nation may never recover.
His lawyers stood before the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, probably the second most important court in all the land, and before the nation and those three judges argued that a president can effectively do whatever he wants.
Arguing that presidents are basically walking, talking immunity bubbles. The courtroom atmosphere quickly shifted from serious legal proceedings to what one reporter called bewilderment and secondhand embarrassment, as the justices tried to make sense of these completely bananas claims. You could practically hear the justices' brains short-circuiting as they processed what Trump's team was suggesting. Justice Sotomayor wasn't having any of it. She asked Trump's lawyer the million-dollar question: could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival and still claim immunity? And guess what? Trump's lawyer couldn't give a straight answer. Talk about awkward. It's like being asked if you took the last cookie and responding with a 20-minute speech about cookie economics.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor grilled Trump's attorney, John Sawyer, on the notion of granting presidents absolute immunity.
A corrupt person, and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him. Is that within his official acts that for which he can get immunity?
Previously, Sawyer had argued that the president could order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate one of his political rivals and not face any consequences for it.
The justices kept pushing Trump's lawyer, John Sawyer, into increasingly ridiculous corners. What about this scenario? What about that scenario? Poor Sawyer was sweating more than Trump at a vegetable convention. But here's where things got really juicy, in what legal experts called a major misstep. And that's putting it nicely. Trump's own lawyer accidentally scored a touchdown for the opposing team. Oops. He admitted that some of Trump's actions as president were actually private and not covered by immunity at all. This completely torpedoed the whole "I'm King of America" defense that Trump had been floating for years. It was the legal equivalent of shooting yourself in the foot while trying to tie your shoes. This accidental admission opened the floodgates for the justices to start separating which actions were official presidential duties and which were just Trump being Trump. Spoiler alert, a lot of his behavior fell into the second category. The justices essentially backed Trump's legal team into a corner until they had no choice but to admit their argument was garbage. It's like watching someone insist they have a royal flush until they're forced to put their cards on the table, revealing nothing but a random assortment of Pokemon cards and an expired Burger King coupon. After watching Trump's lawyers fold like a cheap lawn chair.
As a matter of constitutional bedrock American law, there can be no criminal accountability for anything he does, no matter how violent or evil.
Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
So your answer is no.
As his lawyer was forced to concede having his political opponents murdered.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6.
The ultimate betrayal came from a place Trump never expected. The very Supreme Court bench he personally decorated with his picks. Remember when Trump strutted around bragging about appointing his people to the highest court? He practically treated the Supreme Court like his own personal legal insurance policy. But as it turns out, lifetime appointments come with an unexpected side effect. Those justices suddenly remembered they work for the Constitution, not for Donnie Diapers. Let's break down this beautiful betrayal. The Supreme Court's 6-3 decision against Trump's immunity fantasy included votes from Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, both handpicked by Trump himself. Can you imagine the orange turd's face when he realized his own appointees weren't willing to torch their judicial reputations just to keep him happy? That's gotta sting worse than the time his comb-over got caught in Air Force One's door. During his presidency, Trump constantly boasted about packing the court with loyalists who would protect him no matter what. He basically expected them to function as his personal legal bodyguards with fancy robes.
The question here was an arcane one, but it's what the case turned on, whether the Gun Control Act as applied to these types of kits. It doesn't mean that by kit, depending upon the type of kit, could there be an argument that it comes out from under the Gun Control Act? Yes. An interesting grouping here, not in the dissent. Alito and Thomas once again find a way to stand for the death and destruction in America. This is reproduced in the actual decision. At the top is an actual firearm. At the bottom is what gets sent to somebody that ordered one of these kits.
But when the immunity case hit their desks, these justices faced a career-defining choice: uphold their oath to the Constitution or bow down to the man who gave them their jobs. And surprisingly, they chose America over America's biggest crybaby. For Trump, this must have been the ultimate gut punch. The man who demands loyalty like a mob boss just discovered that Supreme Court justices don't offer punch cards where the 10th ruling goes your way for free. Those lifetime appointments mean they don't need to kiss his spray tanned behind anymore. They're set for life whether Trump likes their decisions or not. What's particularly delicious about this whole situation is that these justices, who Trump surely expected would be loyal soldiers in his legal army, suddenly remembered their judges first. They chose their constitutional duty over personal loyalty to the man who appointed them. Even in today's hyper-partisan climate, there are still some lines that most people, even Trump appointees, aren't willing to cross. Now Trump's throwing a 5-alarm tantrum on Truth Social, probably feeling like he got stabbed in the back by the very people he thought would be his get-out-of-jail-free card. But that's what happens when you confuse appointing judges with hiring personal attorneys. Those black robes aren't MAGA hats, and Trump's learning that lesson the hard way. So here's the cherry on top of this legal sundae. Trump's desperate immunity gambit has officially crashed and burned. With this Supreme Court ruling, his master plan to delay trials until after the election just went up in smoke. No more holding out for a second term where he could pardon himself like some reality TV plot twist. This is truly Trump's personal nightmare, according to legal experts. Imagine that. The former president actually having to face consequences like regular folks. The Constitution just body-slammed Trump's ego, and now his legal troubles are multiplying faster than conspiracy theories at a MAGA rally. No kings in America, folks, just laws.